The black Mercedes stopped at a red light on Commerce Street, in the heart of Seattle, when Thomas Mitchell saw something that froze his blood. There, on the crowded sidewalk, a woman was selling homemade bread from a worn basket. But she wasn't just any woman. She was Rebecca. At 42, Thomas had built an empire in the tech industry with offices in 6 countries. His life consisted of boardroom meetings, Michelin-star dinners, and first-class flights. But now, sitting in his luxury car, he was paralyzed, staring at the woman who had vanished from his life 15 years ago. Rebecca Cohen looked like a faded version of the brilliant young woman he'd met in college. At 39, her face still carried that captivating beauty that had once mesmerized him. But now, there was something different. Exhaustion, resignation, and 2 identical girls, about 14 years old, helping her pack loaves of bread into brown paper bags. Freshly baked bread, just $1. Rebecca's voice called over the noise of traffic. Thomas felt a rush of conflicting emotions: anger, pain, confusion, and something deeper he couldn't name. The twins had her sharp brown eyes and wavy dark hair, but something else about them struck him even harder. The honk of a horn snapped him out of his trance. The light had turned green. His hands trembled as he gripped the steering wheel, turned right, and parked 2 blocks ahead. 15 years. 15 years since that morning. He woke up to find only a note on the kitchen table of the tiny apartment they'd shared. "Thomas, I'm sorry. I can't do this. Don't look for me." Rebecca, he'd been 27, finishing his computer science degree at Stanford. Rebecca had been studying Jewish literature, a brilliant student from a traditional Jewish family in New York. They'd met in a campus cafe. What began as a casual conversation about books became a passionate 3-year relationship. But there had always been an unspoken tension. Her family never accepted him. He wasn't Jewish. Her father, Rabbi Abraham Cohen, found the relationship unacceptable. Thomas still remembered hearing Rebecca's heated arguments in Yiddish when she didn't want him to understand. "Are you ashamed of our family?" But Rebecca always swore she loved him more than anything, that she'd face her family and choose her own path. Until the morning she simply vanished. He'd searched for her for months, called her friends, even traveled to New York, but her family denied knowing her whereabouts. Eventually, he buried himself in work to forget. He founded a startup, grew it, sold it, founded another. Financial success came, but the emotional void never left. Now, sitting in his car, he looked through the rear-view mirror. Rebecca was still there, smiling politely at a customer. The twins moved with synchronized precision. Clearly they'd done this 1,000 times. 14. They looked about 14. The realization hit him like a punch. Thomas stepped out of his car and walked back toward the corner. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it in his ears. As he approached, Rebecca looked up. Their eyes met. Panic flashed across her face. She dropped the loaf in her hands. "Mom?" one of the twins asked, worried. Rebecca instinctively stepped between Thomas and the girls, but it was too late. He was standing right in front of them. That's when he saw it. Really saw it. One of the girls had a tiny birthmark near her left eye, exactly like his. The other had the same distinct ear shape he'd inherited from his mother. "Rebecca," he said hoarsely. "Thomas, please," she whispered, tears forming. "Not here. Not now." The twins exchanged confused looks. Bystanders slowed, curious. "Mom, who's that man? Why are you crying?" one asked. Thomas's legs nearly gave out. Who's that man? They didn't know. 15 years of their lives gone. "Girls, pack your things. We're going home," Rebecca said, her voice trembling. "No," Thomas said firmly. "Not this time. I won't let you disappear again." Her eyes filled with fear, guilt, and something he couldn't decipher. Then a man appeared from the corner, mid-50s, neatly trimmed gray beard, kippa on his head. He walked quickly toward them. "Rebecca, what's going on here?" He stood protectively beside her. His dark eyes burned into Thomas. "Who are you? What do you want with my family?" "My family." The words hit Thomas like a slap. "I'm Thomas Mitchell," he replied coldly. "I was just talking to Rebecca. We're old friends." "Old friends?" the man repeated sharply. "Rebecca doesn't have old friends. especially not men in expensive suits accosting her in the street. We're leaving. Wait. Thomas blocked his path. How old are your daughters? Silence. The man stiffened. That's none of your business, he snapped. Move, or I'll call the police. David, please, Rebecca whispered shakily. Let's go. David. Now, he had a name. Thomas studied them. The way Rebecca seemed to shrink beside him. The way the girls flinched when David raised his voice. 14. One twin said suddenly, chin raised. We're 14. Why do you care? Sarah, quiet. David barked, but it was too late. 14. Rebecca had disappeared 15 years ago. Rebecca, look at me, Thomas said softly. Tell me the truth. Are they mine? Her eyes met his. Guilt, regret, fear, and surrender. Let's go, David growled, gripping her arm. Thomas stood frozen as they walked away. He finally took out his phone and searched David Cohen, Seattle rabbi. The first result: Rabbi David Cohen, leader of the Bet Shalom Orthodox congregation, married for 14 years to Rebecca Cohen, father of twin daughters. 14 years of marriage. 14-year-old daughters. It all fit. Rebecca had been pregnant when she left, and her family had forced her to marry a respectable man to hide the shame of carrying a non-Jewish man's children. He clenched his fists. Later that night, his lawyer and lifelong friend Marcus slid a file across a mahogany desk. You're not going to believe this, Marcus began. David Cohen isn't just a rabbi. He's a financial administrator of Bet Shalom. And over the last 5 years, more than $200,000 has gone missing from community funds. Thomas leaned forward, heartbeat pounding. That's not all, Marcus continued grimly. He has gambling debts. The house is close to foreclosure. Rebecca is selling bread to keep them afloat. He's keeping her trapped, Thomas muttered. Exactly. And I've heard rumors he's controlling. The girls are homeschooled. She's never seen alone. Rage boiled inside him. Marcus, what can I do? Legally, not much, unless you prove he's guilty or get DNA tests. But for that, you'll need Rebecca's cooperation. Then I'll make sure she has a choice. Over the next few days, Thomas hired a private investigator, Robert Chen, who uncovered secret bank accounts, photos, and proof of financial fraud. Friday afternoon, Thomas returned to Commerce Street. David was in a meeting. The girls were at Bible study. Rebecca was alone. Please, he said softly, approaching slowly. Just 5 minutes. Thomas, if David finds out, I know about the debts, about the missing money, about Hannah's asthma. Rebecca, Sarah, and Hannah are my daughters. Her face went pale. You don't understand, she whispered. My father gave me 2 choices, marry David or be exiled from my family forever. I was 24, pregnant, and terrified. You should have told me, Thomas said, voice breaking. I know. I regret it every day. But if I leave now, David will take the girls. He'll have the community, my family, everyone. Not if he's arrested. Thomas said quietly. Her eyes widened. What have you done? I have proof. Enough to destroy him. But I won't use it unless you want me to. You and the girls deserve a life without fear. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Why are you doing this? After everything? Because I still care. And because those girls deserve to know their real father. Just then, David's car turned the corner. Go, Rebecca whispered urgently. He's here. Thomas stepped back. When you're ready, I'll be waiting. Rebecca's hands shook as she packed the unsold loaves into her basket that night. Every sound, a passing car, a door slamming, made her flinch. David had been quieter lately, but that silence was more dangerous than shouting. When he came home, she braced herself. He placed his briefcase on the table, removed his glasses, and spoke calmly. You saw him again, didn't you? She froze. Who? Don't play games with me, Rebecca. His tone sharpened. The man in the suit, the one you talked on the street. Her heart pounded. He was just a customer. He smiled coldly. A customer who drives a Mercedes and calls you by your first name? He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. Who is he? Rebecca swallowed hard. He's no one. You're lying. His hand slammed against the table, making her jump. Do you want to destroy everything? After all I've done for you? Tears welled in her eyes. All you've done, she whispered. You mean isolating me from my family? From friends? Controlling every dollar I spend. His expression darkened. I saved you. I gave you a home, respect, a name for those girls. They're not your daughters, she cried, the words ripping out before she could stop them. Silence. Then his face twisted into something feral. What did you say? The front door burst open. Sarah and Hannah stood there, pale and terrified. Mom. David turned slowly, forcing a smile. Girls, go to your room. But Sarah stepped forward. No, we heard everything. He glared at her. Go. Now. Hannah's voice trembled. He's not our dad. Rebecca's chest ached. Girls, I wanted to tell you, but... Enough! David snapped, grabbing Rebecca's arm. Before he could say another word, a deep voice echoed from the doorway. Let her go. Thomas stood there, flanked by 2 police officers and a man in a gray suit, Marcus, his lawyer. David's grip loosened, eyes wide. What is this? Thomas stepped forward, calm but cold. This is the end. I have everything. The missing funds, your offshore accounts, the fake charity receipts. The officer spoke. David Cohen, you're under arrest for embezzlement, tax fraud, and coercive control. You have the right to remain silent. David's face drained of color. You can't prove. Marcus held up a folder. We already did. As the officers handcuffed him, he turned toward Rebecca, seething. You'll regret this. She looked him straight in the eye for the first time in years. No, David, I already did. When the door closed behind the police, silence filled the room. Thomas took a hesitant step toward her. Are you okay? Rebecca nodded weakly, tears spilling down. I don't even know how to thank you. You don't need to, he said softly. Just let me be here this time. Sarah and Hannah clung to their mother, confused but listening. Thomas knelt in front of them. Hi, he said, voice trembling. I'm Thomas. I think I'm your father. Sarah blinked. You mean our real dad? He nodded, smiling through tears. Hannah looked between them. Did you love Mom? More than anything, he whispered. And I never stopped. Rebecca's sob broke the silence. She sank to her knees, and Thomas wrapped his arms around her and the girls. For the first time, the family was whole. Months later, the headlines read, Rabbi exposed in $200,000 embezzlement scandal. Local mother and daughter start new life. Rebecca had moved into a small but warm house overlooking Lake Union. Thomas helped her get the girls into school, bought them books, and quietly funded her bakery business, now called Second Chances Bread. Every Saturday morning, they baked together. The laughter that once felt impossible now filled every corner of the home. One afternoon, as the spring sun reflected off the water, Thomas found the twins sitting on the porch with a notebook. Dad, Sarah said shyly, we wrote something for you. He sat beside them and opened it. Dear Dad, you didn't know us for 14 years, but you still came for us. You fought for us. Mom says real love doesn't need perfect timing. It just needs courage. Thank you for being brave. Thomas closed the notebook, overcome with emotion. You're my girls, he whispered. Rebecca appeared in the doorway, smiling, her eyes soft, her heart finally free. They get that courage from you, she said. Thomas walked over, brushed a loose strand of hair from her face, and smiled. No, Rebecca, they get it from you. She leaned into him, the sunset painting their faces gold. 15 years ago, he murmured, I lost you, and today, she whispered, we found each other again. The girls laughed in the background, tossing breadcrumbs to the ducks as the sky turned pink over Seattle. For the first time in 15 years, Thomas Mitchell wasn't chasing success. He was home. Dizzy to Yendi, a story of love lost, truth revealed, and a family reborn.